That's really sad and it's super unfortunate, but there's also so much value in what we do for patients that we just can't allow that.
Welcome to AMC. I'm Dr. Greg Miller. We're in a series on practice stats, and today we're going to cover the topic write-offs with Maria Landers. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, I'm here today to talk with you about a really important practice metric that you're probably overlooking. Now, as fun as it is to see how many patients have we served, how many patient visits did we do, we like to look at those metrics and go, wow, look at the collections we had last month. Those are really fun because not only do they represent the value of chiropractic, but they also, more importantly, represent the lives that have been changed through chiropractic. But there's one metric that I find a lot of offices just completely overlook, and it has so much value to our clinics, and that's write-offs. Yep. So write-offs, first of all, what is a write-off? It's the difference between what we normally charge and what we're willing to accept as payment in full for any service in our office. Now, there's different categories that write-offs can fall into. First of all, we have things like insurance contracts, insurance networks that we're a part of. Because where you may charge a certain amount for an adjustment, they're going to have what's called their allowable amounts. So again, that difference between what you charge and what they allow, that difference is your write-off because you're never going to collect it. So the next type of write-off is going to be from things like discounts in your office. So you may offer discounts in your office for, payment at the time the services are rendered. We offer a discount when patients pay for their care plan in full. Again, that's a discount on a service that I know that I'm not going to collect my normal amount for. So again, that difference between what I normally charge and what I'm going to be willing to accept as payment in full after that discount, that difference is my write-off. Now, there's a couple of write-offs that we do see in our office that, first of all, are completely unacceptable and also completely avoidable. The first is timely filing write-offs. So if you happen to be an office that files insurance, you're going to typically have somewhere around a year to submit that claim for consideration. Now, if something happens and you don't submit that claim on time, unfortunately, you have surpassed the timely filing deadline of that contract that you have. And in that case, the patient's not liable for that care and you have to write it off. Again, this is a completely unacceptable and completely avoidable write-off. Now, the second type of completely unacceptable but avoidable write-off is bad debt. So if a patient comes in and maybe they can't pay you today or their payment doesn't go through, they start to accumulate a debt, it's in our power to let that patient know where they stand with us and what we're willing to allow or not allow. So sometimes we have to have those hard conversations with our patients about, what they owe and where we are willing to draw a line on maybe future care. That's really sad and it's super unfortunate. But there's also so much value in what we do for patients that we just can't allow that. So again, this is one of those areas where that write-off, if somebody chooses not to pay you, maybe you pursue collecting that, and at some point you go, you know what, it's been a long time, I don't think they're going to pay me, we're just going to take that off the books. Again, that's a write-off. So that should not be happening in our offices, but if it does, again, that's a write-off. So those are the 4 areas where write-offs can come into our clinics. Those are the typical areas that we see. So what else can we do with write-offs? Like, how else can it be useful for us in our clinics? So one of the biggest things that I like to look at in clinics is the difference between what their total charges are and what their collections are. And I take write-offs into consideration. So if you service a certain amount and we know what your write-offs are, that difference, I can now project what you should be collecting in your clinic. Sometimes that tells us a lot. Are the staff, making sure that payments are being made? are you collecting what is expected after the write-off? So doing that math and looking at those correlations can tell you a lot about, maybe do we need extra training in the office? Are our processes for getting payments from patients, up to snuff? And then lastly, write-offs help us make some really good decisions in our office. So again, there are times where we have contracts with insurance companies, and if the difference between what you normally customarily charge and collect for a service is way higher than what an insurance company is willing to allow for that service, if you guys are on totally different planets there, that write-off may be a key indicator that this network is no longer right for you in your clinic. I was in a network, our office was in a network once where we were losing up to 60% per service. And one day I was like, this is unacceptable. What we do, what we bring to the table, and the things we do for patients and their future is worth more than this. So for us, that was an easy decision to say, goodbye, we're not going to be in this network anymore, and we got out. I just wasn't willing to take that write-off anymore. So again, look at the key areas, look at those 4 areas where write-offs can come into your clinic, evaluate, are we using them appropriately? Are we avoiding the ones that are avoidable? Are we using that write-off data to determine, are we collecting the amount that the office says we should collect? And lastly, are you making sure that your network agreements are still appropriate for your clinic? So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you take this write-off information and go back to your clinic and just continue to get better and grow. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today. As a reminder, we've got regular webinars that go into even more detail on this topic. Check the description for more ways to get our content and sign up. If you'd like more information about AMC and how it might help your practice, you can always reach out to us at amcfamily.com.